Hello, we're group number 2, and we're going to talk about how does language configures reality regarding gender ideology. But first, we need to know what gender ideology is. Gender ideology is a term that is used mostly among Catholics and conservative communities. This phrase refers to the idea of what is the appropriate attitude of men and women inside our society. These attitudes involve the roles and responsibilities men and women are expected to perform. For example, the concept of the man being the working party and the woman doing the parenting and house activities. On the other hand, this concept also legitimates gender inequality. To put it in other words, people who believe in gender ideology do not accept homosexuals, transgenders, and any other type of representation that is out of the norm, as in males, females, and heterosexual relationships, which is a discriminating problem that is being fought exponentially over the last few years. Many people believe that this is an archaic way of thinking, because the world has evolved in a way where men and women can perform any social activity regarding of their gender and where equality and acceptance are predominating. Furthermore, actions have been taken against gender ideology, and many movements and campaigns have been born as a result of this. One of the most outstanding organizations that promote gender equality is feminism. Feminism is a movement that has spread all around the world and supports women's rights and gender equality. This movement has taken land in which even the language has been affected, because they believe that in order to achieve equality, we must speak a neutral language. This proposal is really hard to accomplish considering there are more than 7,000 languages spoken around the world, in which some of them there are more than two genders to describe things, and where the genders of the objects vary to one another.
Continuing with what Adriana mentioned, we're going to show some examples of how language affects gender ideology. Nowadays, it's common to see linguistic variations related to gender ideology. It's a controversial topic and not easy to use it correctly. It's similar to political correctness, and it has the same goal: respect and include all genders in language. The feminist movement and the LGBTQ community have changed the perspective of the use of language. In the case of feminist movements, they are trying to have an equal or a more inclusive language in order to change people's way of thinking. For example, the term policeman changes to police officer to avoid the suffix man, the word chairman to head or chairperson, mankind to people, and so and so. According to Stan Carey, editor and writer, women have fewer opportunities than men. They are paid less and treated less well. One way to improve this is through language. On the other hand, when we talk about inclusive language within the LGBTQ community, we have to be careful with how we express properly and avoid misunderstandings. The University of Maryland has a website in which they explain how to express respectfully to a LGBTQ person. They made this to avoid awkward situations and to let know how they want to be called. For example, instead of being called transsexual, they prefer the term trans or transgender. Instead of transvestite, cross-dresser. Instead of hermaphrodite, intersex. Instead of homosexual, gay or lesbian, among other examples.
The language over time has served as the means of communication between people which have evolved over the years, where the grammar has been modified according to the gender of which is being discussed. This serves as a distinction between sexes and for not create inequality in society by specifying the person you are talking about. In addition, each language has a different grammatical structure, and depending of the language and the country where it's spoken, gender differentiation will be more rigorously indicated. Among the grammatical modification can be mentioned. First, we can use the differentiation of the articles to differentiate gender depending on the language. In Spanish, there are 8 types of articles to define sex, which are el, los, un, some are male items, and la, las, unas, some are female items. In French, there are 6 types of articles to define it, which are le, un is the masculine articles, and la, une are the feminine articles. On the other hand, unlike the Spanish language, French has articles that can be used both for both genders, les and de. In English, unlike the 2 languages mentioned above, it only has 2 articles that can be used for both sexes, de and a. Another example where the modification in the grammatical structures are shown is the change of words to determine a sex, where the age of that person can be calculated. In Spanish, an adult male is called hombre, and the adult female is called mujer. On the other hand, when it's a person of early age of masculine sex, it's called niño, and of feminine sex, it's called niña. In French, an adult male is called homme, and the adult female is called femme. When it's a person of young age of masculine sex, it's denominated enfant, and of feminine sex, it's called fille. In English, an adult male is called man, and the adult female is called woman. On the other hand, when it's a person of a young age of masculine sex, it's called boy, and of feminine sex, it's called girl. In conclusion, I think it's impressive how language can modify the thought, making it possible to create different dialects and structures to differentiate one thing from another. In this case, the genders of masculine and feminine. In addition, as time passes, people start making a differentiation more and more carefully for everything.
Now, a quick recap. We have defined what gender ideology is. It is the preconceived conception that people have of the roles of men and women in society. To illustrate this, we mention the most common cases and examples where gender ideology is seen in the language. In fact, grammatical gender allows us to have a better idea of what we're talking about. What is more, people associate certain objects with their grammatical gender. That is, they think of them more rude or soft for considering them masculine or feminine. This aspect changes depending on the language. Finally, in conclusion, can gender ideology influence how we speak, how we conceive the world? Our answer is yes. In the examples aforementioned, we can observe how there is a clear relationship in how we address people, how other people think of themselves in terms of certain word usage, and they see the world's objects through lenses of gender, which is particular to each language and not to a tangible reality.